What is going on, you programmers and wannabe programmers? And in today's video, we are going to be figuring out how to find customers for your online business in 2021. This doesn't just apply to software, but I'm going to be talking through this in the lens of a programmer, software entrepreneur, whatever. So let's get into this. And this was brought to my attention from a subscriber. He commented, or she commented, named Sanjua. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but they said, "Thanks for the motivation. As a developer, I know how to make this kind of stuff, but I have no knowledge of where to find customers. Any ideas on where to start?" So I figured this would be a great video for this comment. So I appreciate you leaving this comment. Just a little shout out. All right, before we figure out where or how to find customers, we need to know if they're actually there first. So before you even try to make anything, or you try to go out there and contact them, you want to know if they're actually there. It's like kind of heading to Mars, and just being like, are there any humans here? Is there anything? We don't know. Sometimes you do kind of need to be that first person to actually go to Mars, but in other cases like mine, you don't need that. So first you want to ask yourself this question is there a market? This the only question you need to ask. Is there a market? And there's multiple ways that you can find this out, but for me, and I think for everybody else here in the software space, is you can just look at your competitors' numbers. Kind of like what I did with my extensions is I knew that there was a market because I saw that there was other extensions doing the exact same thing I was going to be doing, and I saw that they actually had thousands or tens of thousands of downloads, and I'm like, hey, if I can grab a chunk of this market and charge some money for it, then I might be doing pretty good. So that's one way to do it. Find your competitive apps that are out there, your competitors, see what their numbers are like, if you can try to find them. Hopefully with something like the Chrome extension store or the App Store, Play Store, or whatever, you can see the amount of downloads, which could give you a pretty decent indication of people are looking for this thing and people are downloading it, so there must be a market. Other ways you can go about doing this is just to survey your potential clients. Now, there's multiple ways that you can do this, just depending on which niche you're in exactly. For me, I didn't do this. I did the first step. So for anybody else out there that's looking for potential clients, just ask them. Figure out where they are first, though. So maybe you might have some potential clients within a forum on a website. You might find some potential clients on a blog, Facebook group. Maybe you just want to go directly to the influencer, like on Instagram or YouTube, contact them and be like, hey, I'm trying to make something, would you use this? Just ask people, you need to find that place where people are in potential Facebook groups. Like if you're trying to make an app for the print-on-demand space and you don't know if people are actually going to use it, maybe you want to go to the print-on-demand Facebook groups, ask the admin and be like, hey, is it okay if I ask a question here? And then ask the question, be like, would people use this? Would you all use this? Or Reddit. Reddit is another great source for, surveying your potential clients. Go on Reddit, go for the particular subreddit that you're going for, ask people there. So 2 great ways to find out if there is a market for your app. All right. Next thing that we're going to do is, once we know that there's a market, we actually either need to make our product or do what's called a pre-sell. So MVP, if you guys don't know, minimum viable product, talk about it in a second, or you pre-sell. So 2 ways to actually start doing this now. This is part of the process of finding customers, so I'm just going to talk about it. Anyways, so for your pre-sell, what you want to have is just one single page on your website. That is your landing page. On this landing page, all you're going to be doing is asking people to join an email list, have a little section for to ask people for their payment, and this is actually another great way that I just thought of that you can actually figure out if there's a market or not. You create a landing page, and then when you have a little section for people to join an email list, if you run ads for your site, or if you post your links to places and you tell them, hey, check this thing out, would you guys enjoy it? If so, people might join your email list. And why would you want to have an email list? Well, you want to have an email list so that you know that there are people that are interested in your idea. And what you can do is, since now that you have their email, you can sell them your app later, because maybe you don't have it made now, or you can just notify them of the stages that you're at within development, get their feedback. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with your email list, but those are just to name a few. Those are a few things. And then you also want to set up your payment processor. You can have a very great summary within your page being like, hey, if you front me money now, I can guarantee you, if I get a certain amount within a certain date, that I can fund. It's kind of like a GoFundMe kind of a thing, right? Indiegogo or GoFundMe, where people pay money for your services now, but it's not technically done yet. So you collect a bunch of money, and then you use that money efficiently and wisely. So like maybe you have like a full-time job, and you pre-sell your app, and you get like 100K, 200K, or like 40K, whatever it is, that money that you need to quit your full-time job and use those hours that you were doing before with your full-time job, and putting that towards your app idea. Great way to take your 40-hour work weeks and put that 40 hours into your app or more. So yeah, just the 3 things that you need for a pre-sell. Now, when you go to create the other thing, which is actually creating something first, I would kind of advise doing this maybe. Pre-sell might sound difficult to some people, but if you go this route, you might actually have something to show people. So like maybe you don't really care, like if you get it finished now, maybe you want to spend the entire year creating this app, over a couple hours every single week, and eventually you get it finished, and then you can present it to people. This is another great way, a minimum viable product. And this is another way to just lessen the amount of development time that you do for the app to sell to people. So I'm going to go through the bullet points here. No error path handling. What does that mean? Well, if you ever developed an app, maybe you have like try catches, like you try to call out to an API, or you try to query a database, and then some error happens, right? And then you handle that error by either returning some object or some status code within your API, whatever it is. You literally have no error handling. It's just you go for the happy path only. Like, it's just you go through the entire flow of beginning to end, from when the user registers to when you store something in a database. You don't care if bad things happen. You just want the happy path, or you just want it working in general. And then when you're finished with the MVP, then you can go back and say like, okay, well, if this user then put the right email address format in, then maybe send back, this nice error being like, hey, it's not really properly formatted email. Or if you weren't able to store something in your database, instead of returning them back to like their profile page or something like that, you would send them to a 500 page where it'd be like, error, something happened in the backend, whatever it is. Handle that later. Don't handle that now. Create your MVP first. All right, and the other thing you want to do is have your registration path nailed down. So it's just, how are people going to log in? How are people going to register to your app? How are you going to associate people to like their payment, whatever it is? Get your registration logic handled. Next thing you want to do is you also want to have people pay for your app, right? So for your MVP, you maybe want to set up Braintree, or maybe you want to set up PayPal, or maybe you want to set up Stripe, whatever it is. Get that working. Again, don't worry about handling the errors within your your payment registration, your payment stuff. Don't worry about errors at all. Just get something working, something out there. Don't worry about that. And then the last thing you want to do for your MVP is, however many features or however many things that you have going for your app, you really only want to focus on typically on just one main feature. Get that main feature working, and then once you have the rest, once you have all these 4 things done, get it out there, get it published, start selling it. Okay, maybe even do like a second feature if it's really mandatory. Whatever mandatory features that you need, just do it now. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about is promoting your MVP or promoting your pre-sale like we were talking about. So, ways to promote, and this is going to probably, you know, annoy some people, but create ads. You know, with Google it might be a little bit easy. I'm not quite sure. I think I've run ads before, but I clicked a few buttons and I'm like, I'm hoping this works. And I know ads, you know, is going to take some time to learn and understand how to run them, how to do cost per click, all that stuff. But yeah, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, wherever, Reddit ads is another good one. So maybe you want to do some deep dives into how to create ads or, you know, manage those efficiently. That's just one way to promote. It's an easy way, you know. That's another, but there does come an upfront cost with creating and maintaining those ads. So next thing you want to do to promote your stuff is through Facebook groups. Now this is a great way to go about getting your stuff out there. So I think I already touched on this before, but just take whatever you have, your MVP or your pre-selling, go to a Facebook group, ask the Facebook group admin, be like, hey, is it okay if I put, you know, slide this in here, make a post? And if they say no, just be like, you know, is it okay if I pay you a little bit of money to allow for this post to happen? Because I think it'd really benefit the community. And then, you know, depending on what kind of admin they are, they'll allow you to post, you know, they'll allow you to post it, and then you can get your traffic, your initial clients through that Facebook group. Third thing is through influencers. Now this is something I utilized, and this actually might not be a normal way that people might go about doing this, but I found it really easy. It's just to go to a YouTuber. Okay, that's what I did at first. I found this YouTuber. He was only at 2,000 subscribers, and we were able to meet and talk and stuff. And then eventually, you know, we've done these two extensions together. He markets the extension on his videos, and then I just handle the rest. So it's kind of just like a 50-50 business partner thing, and it's done great for us. And yeah, I appreciate him a lot for doing that. But other influencers too, it's not just YouTube, even though I'd personally recommend YouTube. It's a lot easier, and you can do like business partner stuff. But you can also do Instagram influencers. You could do, maybe there's like some big Facebook page that you can go to. Any other website. I'm not really big into like social media, so maybe you could do like a TikTok influencer as well. TikTok would be a great place to go. I guess that would be another great place to promote too, is to maybe create a TikTok page or TikTok account, and then just have your TikToks be about your niche. Do funny memes and funny videos within your niche through TikTok. It's a great way to go right now. Next is organic through SEO. Now this is actually going to take some time, but you actually might want to integrate this into your site, is to maybe create some blog posts on your site for some SEO, get your website, get your pages ranked, try to get on page 1, page 2, page 3 at the most. Yeah, just try to grow your site. You can start getting organic stuff, like personally for one of my extensions, Bubble Scout. I think on my last income report, when I talked about my sales, I actually had like a lot of sessions actually from Google, people actually searching. So my site is ranking for a bunch of keywords around Redbubble, so that's pretty nice. And next thing is to do guest blog posts. So going on to sites like Medium, answering questions on Quora. What other sites are there for guest blog posts? I'm sure there's a bunch. Maybe you can do like guest post on like Substack or something like that. I'm not quite sure. A Reddit post, go to a subreddit, post about your thing, whatever it is. Make sure it's okay with the moderators first. But yeah, it's another great way to promote your product, to get a lot of eyes on that, because they're already, Reddit and Quora and Medium are already sites that, you know, they rank on page 1 constantly, so you can get a bunch of traffic coming through those guest blog posts. And lastly, to promote your stuff to get more clients, initial clients, is to do a press release. Now this is something I'm not really ventured in. I don't really know a whole lot about it. But I know a lot of people have seen success through press release sites. You can look it up. There's one that like starts with an A. I'm not quite sure what it's called. But I know they're like a decent way. Like you just tell them like, hey, here's my app, here's my site. You know, can you make like they kind of add you to like, you know, the Washington Post like page, you know, where there's like a bunch of new stuff. But that's it for this video, guys. I hope you appreciate it. If you liked it, give a like, dislike, thumbs down, comment, do all the things, subscribe. Also check my newsletter, join my email list. You know the deal. See you guys. Bye.